was just thinking about that, and something happened that also is really a life lesson for me, right? Somebody called me and said, one of our lawyers called me and said that this matter came from the US. I was praying, as in, God, I really want to do this. But I had no idea how to do it. I have the blueprint. If I have the business, I know what to do, right? Based on research. But I don't know how to go to the US and who to approach. I was just sitting down when our lawyer called me and said, there's this guy that came into the country from the US, and he was asking to see your father's family. So, and I said, well, I don't know the family, but I know you, and I know that you're either a niece or you're either a grandchild or a child, they don't know, right? So he said, and I was like, well, I'm in my office. He can come to the office. So when he came, his name is Paul Ben, and he came, he said, in the 1980s during Peace Corps, the dad helped a lot of people. Your dad, you know, we have a lot of people that know your dad, and you know, I just wanted to meet you. So we started talking. I was like, oh, that's great. He told me so many things he did and all that. So one lesson here is, I always say this in outreach, whatever you sow, you will reap. And your generation will keep reaping. You know, that. So something my father did a long time ago, which I didn't know. He passed on when I was in my year 3 of year 2 of secondary school. So obviously I didn't know his work, right? But I got to know his work really, and he did that just for help, not to get something back in return, right? And so I was like, I really, he was asking me, what can I do for you? I showed him the center. This was set up, this is the idea I want to do, and all that and all that. He said, I can help you. He said, I work with Johns Hopkins University, and I can arrange a program and invite you to come and present. And I would invite all the alumni of the university. It's up to you to say. So that's like an avenue, right? So he created a program called Economic Reconstruction of Northern Nigeria. And I presented as BPO because we're going to create employment and all that. It's going to really make an impact in the economy of Northern Nigeria. And by the time I finished presentation, I told my story, I told them what we're planning to do, the idea, how many jobs it will create, how much impact it will make. One person in the audience got up and said, I sponsored myself to Washington, right? And I presented. So one person got up and said, if you can come with me to San Francisco, I'll arrange a lot of meetings for you. It's up to you to sell. So I asked him, where can we go? And he said, well, I have something to do here. If you can meet me on Wednesday, it was a Monday, I think, in San Francisco. This is my address. I've never met him, right? But he's an alumni of the university, and he's a student of Paul Lubeck, who now calls himself my Wali. Wali in Hausa is the person who gives your hand in marriage. So I went to meet him in San Francisco. I had no idea that that there's a 3-hour difference between DC and San Francisco. So by the time I entered, it was dark, it was scary and all that. So but I was able to meet him, and he introduced me to a lot of people. And each and every one of them was telling me the same thing. You're inexperienced. Yes, you did research, you established the center according to international standard. You have a blueprint of what a very good process will be, but you've never done this before. So how can we trust you, and how can we move operations from somebody from a company in India that is really experienced to you in Nigeria that is not. So until I was introduced to the 15th person.
Wow.
So when I was speaking to him, I told him all the things those 14 people. I know we're inexperienced. I know we've never done this before.
Yeah.
But if you can give me 5 customer services, I'll give it to you free of charge for 3 months. If you don't like it, you walk away. I will take care of connectivity. I will take care of everything. And he said, I have nothing to lose. Let's do it. And he said, let's do 10 seats. So I came back to Nigeria. I got people with the best American accent. And they wowed them, right? And that's how outsource started. So today we are 1,017 employees, and even more. We're not just doing what India is popularly. I don't know, my English is really rusty. I've been trying to pronounce certain things today. Perhaps because I really wanted to be in my daughter's visiting there, and I'm supposed to be speaking Hausa the whole of today. So anyway, so that's fine. So we changed the business model. We're not just doing customer service and telemarketing. We're doing legal services. We take lawyers in Nigeria and they work under senior lawyers to solve actual US cases. So whatever profession that is, whatever skill set that is required for our clients in the US, we find the right skill sets, right? So Nigeria graduates about 1 million graduates every year with accounting, software, lawyers and all that. So whatever that service, whatever that skill set is required by our American clients, we will get the right skill set, and that person will work for those American clients within Nigeria. I note that I do not take people outside Nigeria. Please don't approach me and say I have a visa, I want to migrate. I do not, I'm against migration, right? They work from Abuja, Kaduna, and Lagos centers. It's, they actually work from here under the client services. So
I don't know if anyone heard when she said that this was the first time you were given an opportunity to speak to someone about, like, you started 4 times. The first time it failed, second time, third, and it was up until the 4th time before you were
like,
yes. And I think that was not enough. You had to speak to 15 different persons, trying to, convince them. I mean, I want you to explain how that process was like, because I know what it's like to have a vision and you tell somebody, well, this is what I'm into, and they're like, okay, can you write 3 pages on why you want me to support you? You're right. So I know what it's like to have, you feel like, oh, there's something I want to do, but you meet people and it's like, let me say, so what was that process like? Did you feel like giving up?
I didn't. I always say this. There was never a time I thought of giving up. Why? Because you give up when it's all about you, right? Mm-hmm. And the foundation of that is I'm going to create employment, right? It's all about those people. So it doesn't matter how many times I start and failed. What matters is by the time it happens, it will make this great impact. So because it wasn't about me, I didn't feel like giving up. But if it was just for me, I would have just said, well, I'm well taken care of by my husband. I have 4 kids. I really don't need to do this. And I'll stay at home and live the same life I live now, more or less, without any difference, right? But it wasn't about that. It was about by the time somebody believed, by the time it goes live, then it will really make great impact to a lot of people. And when it does, those people will be really, really better off. So it was not about me. So there was never a time I thought of giving up. I just prayed to God, and I know that if it fails, I say the first time it failed, I said, well, we are not meant to do it in Kano. The second time it failed, I said, this is not the right investor. So I thank God. So and whenever it fails, it's almost always like a relief. You know, like a relief that this is not the time or this is not the right investor. I know that God is listening, and since I rely 100% on Him, it will happen. And the same thing I said to myself when I was talking to those 15 people. From the investment, from before we even got the center to operational level, whenever people say it can never happen, there is no way an American client would outsource a segment of their entire business to a Nigerian company. I always say in my mind, not outrightly to the people, I'll say God will make them because He created them, so He will make them. And I pray and I say, God make them. You know, so the same thing, I say to myself that it's just a matter of time. If I keep at it, I will get to a point where somebody will believe, and then once that happens, then everything changes. And that's exactly what happened. I relied totally on God, but I kept at it. You have to really believe that it will happen. Just like what the last speaker said. You have to believe that He will do it for you, and He will. And you have to be persistent. And there's no hard work. I've learned from the time that I was small, I was raised like that. There is no hard work that goes to waste. Right? So whether you repeat in that same place where you think you repeat or somewhere else, it always comes back to you. So I will just do my best. I leave the rest to the one who makes it. And that's what I do. So I never thought of giving up, not even once. Not even once.
Okay, so before we give room for other people to ask questions, I just want to ask one brief question. So would you say that the sole reason for starting a business plays a key role in the success or the failure of a business? Now the reason I ask this is because oftentimes people go into business to make money. Money is not a bad thing. I want to make money too. But now, we all know that oftentimes when you go into business, the money doesn't just roll in immediately like you hope for. And so, would you say that, would you advise rather that people take their mind off money like you did? You saw a problem and you wanted to solve it. And then eventually money came rolling in. So would you say that people should take their minds off making money and try to solve a problem in the country? What would be your advice as regards money and
Exactly. I think that's what I said in the beginning. You have to think of, if you're doing a business, what value am I trying to create? If you think about, I have to make money, the money will not come, and you give up. Right? But if you're thinking of the value, you focus on achieving that value. You will not give up until you achieve it. Right? Because you're focused on it. Right? So, like I said, there is no businessman that has succeeded in this world just by thinking of money and how much money he will make. Because thinking of money, you can do so many things without focus just to achieve that. Just to achieve that money. And when you're not focused, then you won't really achieve. But when you're focused on, I want to create this value, like I said, we want to create massive employment, meaningful employment in Nigeria or in the North or in Africa, right? And our focus is that until we achieve that, we would never rest. So right now we're thinking we've employed over 1,000, right? When our HR manager is here, if she talks about the HR, the turnover is much more than that from the beginning. How many people we've employed and to date is much more than that. But we don't feel that we've achieved something, right? We want to be the biggest employer in Africa. We want to create massive and meaningful employment, and we're working towards that. So yes, we are now at 1,000 and people are thinking, wow, this is good. But we feel we've just scratched the surface. we're just moving. And that's one thing about following the value and the passion that you have for that value will actually get you there. God always helps those who help themselves and who help others.
Okay, so what has been the highlight of today?
I think the part where Mrs. Anne Ekweme said money is overrated. Yes, the part where she said money is overrated. Trust me, so many people give focus to money, and like I said before, money is not a bad thing. I want to make money. I'm sure you want to, but we're able to understand today that oftentimes you need to focus on the value. You need to focus on what's the problem I want to solve for the society. And like Amal said, Amal Hassan, there was never a time she felt like giving up because the dream wasn't about her. It was about the world. It was about Nigeria. So there was no way she thought of giving up. And I think that was a highlight for me today.